Hey, everybody, it's Jim Johnson, your host here at Contractor Radio. And we're super excited today. You're going to start to see some new stuff with us. It's been a lot of fun our first year in getting 52 episodes out there and really gaining some traction. And I think a lot of the reason that we're gaining that traction is because we're doing what we said we were going to do. We're going to entertain you, we're going to educate you, we're going to help you get control of your business so that you can grow your business and start to find some of that financial freedom and personal freedom that you're looking for. That's what we're all after as entrepreneurs. So we concentrate on tools, tactics, strategy, and some of those things that help us to create a better business that we can manage a little bit more in this fashion of working on it instead of in it every single day. As contractors, we tend to create jobs for ourselves instead of businesses for ourselves, and Contractor Radio is here to help you start to turn your job into a business. Today, we are going to be bringing on a guest that we're going to talk about automation and digital aspects of your business, how we can start to put those into our workflow and our processes to speed things up, become more professional, and to start to really drive our business. And we always start out with this 2-minute drill, and I want to talk to you today about that automation side of things more than anything else. One of the tools that are out there, there's a couple of different ones. You've got Zapier or Zapier, and you have if this, then that, and you'll see that as IFTT. These tools are tools that you can use to link things together, like maybe your email to a form that gets filled out, a spreadsheet to a document, or a document to a spreadsheet, a form that gets filled out on your website that creates a spreadsheet for you. And I strongly suggest, as technology is moving forward faster and faster, not everybody is API'd together, where this thing is just automatic, click a button, everything works. But these tools like Zapier and if this, then that will allow you to connect those two things with just some simple technological skill. You can go watch a YouTube about it and learn what you need to learn in about 5 seconds. It's really quick. You can set up these things called zaps that do those type of things for you. So maybe each time somebody fills out a form on your website, you could zap it over to your CRM to automate an email. So it's cool things like that that will take some of that workload off of us, because we're all about creating capacity. The more things that we can automate gives us more time to work on our business. So let's talk a little bit about that automation and digitizing your workflow and what that can do for your business today. We have a special guest. This guy, we've gotten to know each other over the last year. We not just in the business side of things, but in a group that we have on Facebook for contractors called Contractor Fellowship. And he's wise beyond his years, and he's got a great story. I can't wait to get into it with him. We are going to bring on the superstar of all things Roofr related, Matt Radford. Matt, welcome aboard, buddy. Good to have you.
I'm humbled by your introduction there. Thank you very much.
It's one of those things I noticed, like as you're in conversations with groups of people, you tend to be quiet at first, and you're kind of taking in that information, and then you're able to wrap it all up and really apply a lot of wisdom to it. And I've been listening. I don't know if everybody else is, but I've certainly been paying attention to what you have to say in our fellowship group, as well as on some of the business stuff that we do together. Mm-hmm. So today we're talking about digitizing your workflow process and some automation type things, making things a little bit easier for these contractors. But before we get there, why don't you just give us from now to back in the day, how'd you get here? What ended up driving you to get to all things everything over there at Roofr?
Sure. So I started roofing back in 1999, and the story of how I started roofing was it usually starts out the same way. I was dating a girl, and so I was getting into web design, and I designed my first website in 1999. It was a Star Wars website, huge Star Wars fan, and I taught myself HTML, and I was learning how to code and whatnot. I was dating this girl, and her dad's a roofer. So he told me the internet is just a fad. It's not going anywhere. And I needed to get a real job if I was going to date his daughter. So he took me roofing. So I got out of web design and got into roofing and did industrial commercial flat roofing for 14 years. And and I've been a shingler for 21 years. Last year, I can honestly say, was the last year I'm going to step on a roof. I'm done. So I did roofing for most of my life, and a few years back, I was working for Mr. Roof Repair, a company out of Toronto, and I started using the Roofr measurement tool, and I got really good at it. So they hired me. Now I'm here. It's kind of, and to me, it's like it's a marriage of two of my interests, right? I love roofing. I'm really good at roofing, better than most other roofers, and it's tech. It's you've seen I have 5 computer monitors here in front of me and all kinds of gadgets and stuff. So it's I'm very happy. I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
So you're like me. You got all the gadgets and everything. I got like this podcast camera over here that picks me up and does different frames and stuff. I got my webcam up there. I've got 3 different screens, all kinds of stuff going. It's funny. Like, it seems like us that are in this industry tend to like that techie kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, I want the cool stereo. I want the great surround sound system and those types.
We're slowly being microwaved, but at the same time, it's fun.
Now, did you say Toronto, Canada, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm in southwestern Ontario, Canada.
That sounds cold. Am I correct?
It's very cold. It's very cold. Yeah, it's very cold. That's another reason I'm not stepping on another roof. It's I don't know what it would be in Fahrenheit, but I think actually it's warm today. It's 0. That's warm.
That's 32 degrees Fahrenheit, if I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
So
I never paid attention to Fahrenheit.
Well, I lived close enough to you to understand what that means, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
I lived in Wisconsin for about 18 years, and I said, man, I'm tired of snow and I'm tired of cold. It is time to get back to the great state of Texas.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at today. Now, we got a little bit of the background. And before I get into all the questions, I always like to ask my guests a few questions kind of more about them.
Mm-hmm.
What's your greatest achievement today? The thing that Matt has done that he's maybe most proud of, that's not getting married and having kids. Like, we all know that's number one, or better be, or we're in trouble. Besides that, what's the greatest achievement today?
I would have to say overcoming my addictions. I've been sober now. This is my 10th year of being sober. I quit smoking 6 years ago. And, I don't want to say I'm proud of these achievements. These aren't any achievements that I've done on my own. I've only done them through the Lord. God has given me the strength to overcome my addictions. Romans 6 says the old man is dead and I'm a new creature. So I'm not an alcoholic. I was an alcoholic. That man is dead. So my greatest achievement is overcoming my alcoholism. I lived on the streets for a while. I've been poverty stricken. 10 years ago, I was playing my guitar on the streets of Toronto for money, going to the bars, getting drunk, and I was homeless. And so overcoming those addictions, coming to the Lord, has helped bring me to where I am today.
Okay, I got more questions about the automation, digitizing stuff, but you said something there that was counterculture a little bit. Mm-hmm. There's this thing with alcoholism. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, right? Like, mm-hmm. I'm always going to be one of those people. I just have to do these things to make sure that I don't fall back into that trap. Mm-hmm. You said instead that man is dead. Like, that, no longer an alcoholic. That's so different. How did you get to there? I understand that God's part of that, but I'm going to guess you were in some programs and things like that. And no, you handled all on your own.
Yeah, I just realized, I'm not an alcoholic. See, I got into trying to really figure out who I was and what my identity was. And I found that when I was saying I'm an alcoholic, I was saying that is my identity. So I started saying I'm Matt Radford and I have alcoholism. So that way my alcoholism wasn't becoming my identity. And then once I learned that my identity is actually in Jesus Christ as my savior, then he became my identity. I am not an alcoholic because I can't have that identity. My identity is in Christ. So there's no room for that identity. So I pushed it away. That old man is dead. I understand why some people have to stand up and say I'm an alcoholic, and I don't begrudge them that. Every person is different. Everybody's on a different walk, right? So that's just how I was able to overcome it.
Yeah, that's one of those things with me too. I don't care how you overcome it. Whatever is right for you, I am good with. You're on your own path, man. I'm just here to support you. And I just am impressed. I haven't heard that before. That is a new one. Usually you hear the whole Alcoholics Anonymous 12 steps and
Yeah.
how to get to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to do this the way you have through Christ and salvation through that, it's impressive. Really,
Mm-hmm.
really cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get back to some of those questions. I like that. But let's talk about how these contractors can get better at what they're doing. So I've said digitalizing our workflow process a few times now. What does that mean? Like, can you explain that? Like, I read it on the website and went, I kind of get it, but what does that mean to you whenever you hear that?
So workflow digitization, it's a mouthful to say. I have 15,000 contractors that I work with, and I can tell you honestly, a lot of them are still doing pen and paper. You know, they're going out on the roof, they're measuring with a tape measure, a pen and a paper. They got to drive, for an hour, half an hour. It's saving time is basically what workflow digitization is. From the lead generation process to the point of sale, digitizing that workflow across different CRMs and different lead generation software, roof measurement software, financing software. It gives the homeowners a more streamlined process. It's done online. It's done contact free, which is great. Up here in Ontario, Canada, we're in COVID lockdown right now, so it's very important for roofing contractors to be able to have that workflow digitization, so they can have that contact free way to sell. So basically, that's what workflow digitization is. It's using different software, CRMs and stuff to digitize your workflow, from the sales to even purchasing your materials. I know some roofing contractors are still doing their estimates, pen and paper, old school. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't begrudge anybody doing things the old way. There's still people that drive horse and buggies too. Teach their own, right? I just prefer to get places faster than others.
So, you mentioned the whole COVID thing, pandemic. We're all dealing with this, and everybody's kind of in a different place on this too. Wear a mask, not wear a mask, government and anti-government, and just all the mess that's going on. But when it comes to our business, it is affecting businesses and how we engage with the consumer. Do you think this is something that's going to change business forever? Let's just walk under the assumption that we solve the whole COVID thing, and for whatever reason it goes away, like some say, or we get the vaccinations and all that stuff and it's not a problem anymore. Is this what has happened for the last 12 months or so going to affect businesses ongoing? Like, did they learn anything from it?
100%. I'm reading a book right now by Klaus Schwab. He's the director of the World Economic Forum, and it's called COVID-19, The Great Reset. And there's a whole economic plan to completely revamp the world economy based on people and planet. And in the book, I don't know if it's going to affect the United States so much. I know, being in Canada, being in the British Commonwealth, we're kind of the guinea pigs for this Great Reset program that it talks about digitization. Basically, if you don't get digital and get online, you're going to go the way of Blockbuster Video. And this is the future, contact free, not just with COVID-19, but people's trust is also broken right now. People are scared. They're living in fear, and it's going to take a long time for that people to get over that fear, right? But the whole economic plan, I do believe that we are on like a cusp right now of a completely different economy, world economy. So it's totally going to affect how everybody does businesses across the board.
So here comes a fun question.
Okay.
Was it planned or just an opportunity that presented itself to allow us to go?
I have to be careful here. Let me put my conspiracy tinfoil hat on.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. Well, they say it wasn't planned. That it actually kind of was planned. It's been planned for the past 20 years or so, and they've been kind of rolling it out with like carbon taxes, and we've seen it kind of trickling up. And now that COVID-19 has hit, I don't believe COVID-19 was planned, don't get me wrong, but since COVID-19 hit, it's become like, that's like the catalyst for change, like a springboard. Okay, this hit, this is our opportunity to push this great reset agenda. I mean, Prince Charles from the royal family, he's a big fan of this great reset, and us being, you guys got lucky back in 1776. And funny story, segue. Okay, my family's actually Pennsylvania Dutch from Pittsburgh, and in 1776 they remained loyal to the Empire, the British Empire. They fled the United States for Canada as Empire loyalists.
So that's how you. All right, we're done talking to Matt today. No, just kidding.
I'm a turncoat.
Oh man, that's funny stuff. It's so this thing called the Great Reset. It's interesting to me. Number one, like I never heard that term until this pandemic thing came on, and I see most of it being used more as a conspiratorial type thing than it is a like, hey, this is something that's been coming for a long time. And funny enough, I've been one of those people pushing this type of stuff for quite some time. I started building software for my business in 2000. In 2004, I started taking that and putting it onto a server that everybody could access. In 2006, I started putting it on the cloud. 2009, we started springboarding it out to contractors all over the nation and the world. And realizing that this is the way things are going to go. All you have to do is watch the Jetsons as a kid and go, hey, this is where things are going with technology. You're going to be able to see people. Like in 2000, having this concept of you and I talking like we are right now, you're in Canada, I'm in Texas, and we're on video like we're sitting right next to each other. That was space age stuff.
Yeah, like Dick Tracy talking into his watch, right? I watched that back in the 80s and I was like, whoa, that's awesome. That'll never happen in my lifetime. Now here we are.
Yeah, everybody with their Apple watches and Android watches and talking.
Yeah.
I've got one of those in the house. I don't use it anymore because I got this other piece of technology.
Oh, Fitbit?
No, this thing is called a Whoop. It's actually super cool. It's the first one of these fitness things that actually it almost like is sitting there going, hey, you didn't work out. I noticed you didn't work out.
Oh, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't need somebody to remind me I didn't work out, man.
It's not what you did, it's what you didn't do that's causing this need for you to go do this now.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty cool. But that's the whole thing is this reset is going to happen organically anyway. This idea of people using technology. I started to notice it really when it really hit me is when somebody can buy a car online.
Yeah.
You go online and buy. I'm like, there is no way in the world I'm buying a car online. I gotta go drive that thing. I want to see if it clunks and has any, ticks to it or anything like that. And you could just go buy a car online. But people were doing it. And when I started saying people are doing it, that's going to be something that becomes the way. Back in 2009, nobody wanted anything on the cloud. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm not putting my stuff on the cloud. I want a server. I want to protect it, behind firewalls and all kinds of other stuff. Now, if you're not behind a cloud or cloud powered, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah. So
this is super interesting stuff. And it's something contractors need to be aware of because in our industry, if we're honest with ourselves, we tend to be a little dark ages.
Yeah.
And like Matt said, no begrudging that, but you need to be aware. You need to listen to the warnings. You see the early signs and start to learn what you can, whether that's simply starting to use email, which is something that's important, but CRMs and automations and those type of things that are going to help your business. And I've seen so much of a move forward in that over the last 5 years or so has really started to get legs underneath it. And then a pandemic comes along.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see it, kind of like you do. Like
that, it created that urgency. And a lot of contractors that I've talked to actually thrived last year because with people being at home, stuck at home on lockdown, oh crap, my roof's leaking. They didn't notice before. Oh, my roof needs to be done. So more people were investing into their homes last year and making them more livable because they're there all the time, right? So I talked to so many roofers that did fantastic. And the ones that didn't are the ones that didn't digitize their workflow, the ones that still wanted to do old pen and paper, old school, right? And a few companies here in Ontario actually went under because they couldn't keep up with the other companies that had already moved forward with the automation. And that's like, and for automation, it could be something as simple as ordering roof measurement reports. You know what I mean? Like that saves so much time and energy and money depending on who you buy them from. I know a good company that has $10 roof measurement reports that you can order, and you can get them back within a couple of hours, and they're $10, and you get a full measurement report. But it saves you time. It saves you from driving to the job site, pulling out your ladder, climbing out on the roof, risking a slip and a fall. Then you got to buy your coffee on the way there, buy your lunch, gas money. So the cost savings are, and then it's time, right? You can punch in an address, order a roof measurement, have somebody else draw it up for you while you're on a sales call. So getting into stuff like this really, really helps. And you don't have to jump in. Like, a lot of people are scared of automation. Like, workflow digitization scares a lot of people. But once you learn, it's actually pretty easy. And people like me and yourself and there's others out there, John Brose, and I got a bunch of friends that are in the industry that are there to help roofers stay relevant in the digital age. It's very important.
And here's the cool thing about this. Change is scary. It just is, right? Everybody has fear of change. But if you approach it with that type of mindset, it's going to pass you by. It just is one of those things. So I've always been pretty open-minded about it, but I'm also pretty calculating about it. And whoever I'm working with, as far as technology goes, I want to make sure that they're there to support me. And the good ones are. They're there to walk you through it, to teach it to you. It's in their own best interest if they do. If you get where you are using this as the way you do business, it's almost like a drug. Like, once you start using it, you can't stop, because it does make things quicker. It does make things faster. It does make things more professional. And that's one of the biggest things. I got a funny story for you. You may not know this. To the best of my knowledge, I was the first to start creating roof measurements for this industry back in 2006.
Wow.
We had to manually do it, but you could draw a roof on a screen, take one measurement, pop the whole thing, scale it to you, and the whole bit. And the reason I was doing it was for my salespeople. I could see, hey, if we could do that, they could speed up their inspection process. They could speed up their estimating process. We could get to more people faster than the competition. And then the very first company that started really doing this, EagleView, came out. And I went, wow, they can automate that. That's what I'm trying to do, is automate. Can I get their stuff into my software? And we API, that was the first API for EagleView, was to send it into our software called Silver Lining. And that thing started to help our salespeople move faster.
Nice.
Helping other salespeople move faster by selling that. And that thing became popular now as part of AccuLinks. And AccuLinks, that's how I got started. I had the front end, they had the back end, we put the two together, and we had a good tool for contractors to use. It was fairly simple. You mentioned something that was really important. Keep it simple. Start with the easy stuff. One of the best tools out there for this, roof measurements, like Roofr, obviously, but Company Cam, this tool that allows you to take pictures and share those pictures to your customer while you're actually up on the roof if you want to. I mean, that's a simple thing. It takes 5 seconds to learn, and it steps you above everybody else that's not willing to take some of those moves. And there's so many others like that. People can go out there and check out the catalystgroup.org. There's all kinds of vendors there that do it right. There are people you can trust that are going to follow through and not scam you on things. You see a lot of in our industry. So when you're talking with a contractor that hasn't used technology before, what are some of the hurdles that you have to get through with them to get them on board? I get the fear part, but what's stopping them?
First, you got to get them to turn on their computer. I got one contractor that I work with in New Jersey. I think he's like 73 years old, and he's not too tech savvy. So I actually took it upon myself to help him, and he texts me the addresses that he needs measured because he knows how to use his phone. He's got the old flip phone. He texts me the address, and I do the measurement report for him. So it's that's going above and beyond what I'm supposed to do here at Roofr. But that's the type of customer service that you get. And so trying to train roofers who aren't tech savvy is, I will tell you one thing: using videos is great. I've become a video guru here at Roofr, where I use StreamYard, Vidyard, and Filmora. And I create Roofr 101 how-to videos. And these will give roofers the opportunity to revisit them so they can watch them, trying to do it in a screen share like this, they got to look at their watch. They got sales meetings to go to. So creating videos and giving them video content that they can revisit on their own free time is huge. And I've helped so many contractors get online, get websites designed through friends of mine who do web design. Brad Akers is one of them over at Elevated Solutions, does phenomenal work. And there's a plug for you, Brad. You owe me money now. But yeah, just sending videos to these contractors and really educating them, teaching them, step by step. And like you said, like I said earlier too, keep it simple. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a mentor, as a former pastor of mine, he said, when things get difficult, give it a kiss. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, kiss, keep it simple, stupid. And that's probably one of the best pieces of advice I ever got, because I tend to overcomplicate things, overthink things. If you just keep it simple and just find a starting point, have an end point that you'd like to get to, but just take steps to get there. Don't try to build Rome in one day. And using video sales and communicating to contractors is the best way to take those steps and help them keep it simple, not overthink it, not overcomplicate it. You don't need, multiple CRMs and multiple softwares. You can just do everything in one compact little location. And it's pretty simple, especially if you got somebody to help you along the way. Yeah,
that's why Contractor Coach Pro exists, is we help people do that, like start to automate their stuff, start to put in the systems they need. So you mentioned something there, this video thing. And that's something I think is a really good entry level type thing for contractors as well. And really the reason for it is anything that you're saying more than 2 or 3 times, you need to start looking at how can I document that? Whether it's training, whether it's a piece of information that you're giving somebody, if you're having to do it 2, 3, 10, 20, 50 times over and over and over again, start creating the video content for that. And that way, when somebody says, hey, how am I supposed to flash that chimney again? Say, go watch this video. Here you go. It's done.
Yeah.
Which gives you more capacity to work on that business instead of in it, starting to automate things for yourself. And it's an easy, fast, and most everybody has a phone nowadays that can do amazing things. I got a new phone yesterday.
Yeah, me too. I got the Samsung Galaxy S20. There's another plug. Samsung, you owe me money.
Yeah, Pixel 5.
Yeah.
And these phones can do amazing things today.
Yeah.
You can do time-lapse photography. They've got astronomy photography in it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? It can shoot pictures of the stars. Cameras suck at that.
Yeah.
And so technology is moving fast.
Yeah.
When you see things moving fast like that, you need to pay attention. You need to go, I should maybe try to learn some of that stuff. I see myself today, 10 years ago, man, I'm all over it on everything that's out there. I'm trying to learn as much as I can.
You want to hear 10 years ago? I had my friend trying to get me onto Bitcoin at $10 a coin. And I was like, Bitcoin, that's dumb. That's like my ex-father-in-law saying, the internet, it's never going to go anywhere. It's just a fad. I did the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin. Now it's at $30,000 a coin. So, yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how I turn the Bitcoin into cash. How do I get that?
I'll show you. I use different cryptocurrencies. In the app that I use, cryptocurrencies, they actually issue you a metal crypto. You can't see my number, so they issue you a metal crypto Visa card, so you can spend your cryptocurrencies anywhere that takes Visa. It's pretty slick.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So basically, for the past 100 years or longer, the banks have had a monopoly on being able to create fiat currency out of thin air. So now the common man can do that with cryptocurrencies. I invested $150 in cryptocurrencies, and within 2 weeks, it was $700. So basically, we get free groceries and stuff.
Oh man, boy, we could get into the whole politics.
Yeah, it's a whole different podcast.
I try to stay away from that if I can, but $2 trillion in stimulus stuff. Where does that come from? It just magically appeared. It was just crazy stuff. All right. You answered. Actually, thank you. By the way, you answered one of the questions that I tend to ask, which is, what's the best advice you ever got from a mentor?
I got another one.
What's that? What do you got?
Another brilliant piece of advice that actually helped me get through the COVID pandemic is you can't control every situation you're in, but you can control your reaction to every situation you're in. And when COVID first hit, I was afraid and I was angry and I got mad at the government and I was afraid because COVID was going to kill my kids and I got that piece of advice from a pastor, and it helped me realize I don't need to have fear. I don't have any reason it says fear not in the Bible like 160 times. So what am I afraid of? What am I worried about? I can't control the situation, but I can control how I react to the situation. And it becomes, who can I serve? Who can I help? Who else is feeling afraid or worried or angry? How can I help them, get out of that and actually push through this and be successful and thrive through it? So that's a really good piece of information or advice I've gotten in the past year.
Yeah, that's a big one to me, because while I do tend to have a little piece of me that has some anxiety and stuff there,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really deal with fear or worry like most people. Like, this whole pandemic thing has been like, hey, just another thing, another challenge, let's go.
Yeah.
And I've always been wired that way.
Yeah.
And I thank God for it every day. Like, thank you for not making me that way, because I know so many other people that they do struggle. I haven't been in their shoes, so I don't know what they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating for me, because I want to say, hey, just blow it off. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I don't like the government to begin with. I was a candidate for the Ontario Libertarian Party back in 2014 or something like that. So I'm very, very much anti-government. So at first I was afraid of the pandemic, and then I started researching the numbers and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, it's a serious disease, but not as many people are dying. It's still pretty serious. But being a father, I have an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 18-month-old, and an 18-year-old. So then I start thinking about the future for my children, and that's where my fear came from. And I'm a problem solver. So when there's a problem, I sit down and I try to find a way to solve it. And when I can't solve a problem, I get anxious or upset or frustrated. And it depends. A whole bunch of emotions go through my mind, right? Anger is like the culmination. I got angry at the government, and I've learned to step away from that, get away from that. There's nothing I can do about it. The government, it's the government, is always going to be there. I just have to learn how to react and control my reaction. And so now with government, I just ignore them. It's easy to do in Canada. It's not so easy to do in the States.
There's a little out in front of your face here.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Your government is in front of our face. So
there's a funny thing about that. I've gotten really good at it. I don't pay any attention to it. I literally do not watch television at any point when there's news on. Like, we don't watch that in our house. It just brings too much negativity in my world. And I think that's part of it. I'm inherently kind of a positive person. Mm-hmm. I go, hey, this COVID thing is maybe an opportunity. It's an opportunity to help some people, opportunity to serve some people, opportunity to maybe springboard a few companies that are willing to, take that jump off the diving board.
Yeah.
And it's been really good for our country. Our contractors have done really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got one more question for you, Matt. It's been a great interview, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like I told you, you never know what question is going to come out of my mouth here.
Yeah.
I actually got 2 questions.
Okay. Yeah.
One question is, what makes you tick?
What boy. What makes me tick? Well, I like to be challenged. I like challenges. If I'm not challenged with something, I get bored really quickly. So I'm constantly, reaching out to people, taking on new things, trying to solve different problems. I'm constantly learning. I got a Kindle for Christmas with Kindle Unlimited, so I'm reading and reading and reading. What makes me tick is I'd have to say my willingness to serve God. That's my beginning and my end. God is what makes me tick. I do everything for Him. I serve Him. I do volunteer work for the homeless here in Woodstock. The COVID-19 has done a number on jobs here. I think we're getting up to like a 20% unemployment rate or something like that, if not more. We have, I think, about 1,500 homeless just in Oxford County right now, and 60% of those are just from the last year. So we have a huge homeless problem here. And so I've been helping them and serving them. And that's what makes me tick, is just, I want to serve. I want to help people. I used to be homeless. I used to be a drunk. I'm a success story that's come out of that. So what makes me tick is wanting to help other people overcome their problems.
What a great testimony. I mean, that's, you don't want to hear it from Jim Johnson that was an alcoholic and didn't live on the streets. You want to hear it from Matt Radford, the guy that was in your shoes, that knows what you're going through.
Yeah. I've had great opportunities to share the gospel and really give them a message of hope. Like, you're not homeless, you're houseless. You have a home. It's just not here on earth. So you're not homeless. You're just houseless temporarily. Look beyond the horizon. That's a message of hope that I've been sharing with them. And it's been great.
Yeah, but that would be a great conversation. I'd love to bring you on for an interview just to kind of have a conversation about some of that stuff. Like I said, you're a thinker, and
yeah,
you've got a lot of wisdom there from the mean streets, right? Like you've gone through it. So there's some experiences you've been through that a lot of us haven't. And that homeless stuff, it is a big problem.
Yeah,
we deal with it pretty dramatically here in the States, probably to a higher extent than I would imagine in Canada. A little warmer here. You can be homeless.
Yeah. Well, we got people in San Francisco, and they tell us about the homeless situation they have there. San Francisco is like beautiful weather year round, from what I hear. So they have a lot of homeless people there that there's no winter, so they don't freeze. So they go there and they kind of congregate there, and it's a big issue.
We deal with it quite a bit in Houston, Texas. Same thing.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't get that cold, and so it's a big problem in these southern cities. And I don't know what the answer is. I do know that God and His kingdom is my answer in the end.
Yeah.
And a lot of those folks have lost hope.
Yeah.
I hope we can share that hope with those folks and let them know, hey, they haven't been forgotten.
Yeah.
It's a big thing in our family. We spend a lot of time focusing in that arena as well. Mm-hmm. All right. Last question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this might have a theme to it. But all of my guests, I like to ask them, we're only going to be here for a certain period of time, right? We all know that. It all comes to an end at some point, and there's going to be that day. And that day, when people come to celebrate Matt Radford and his life, what do you want them to remember? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
It's funny you ask that, because I used to be all about building an empire and like wanting to build a corporation and leave behind my legacy. I don't know. I don't think I want to leave behind a legacy other than I want to be remembered for somebody who just loved people and just loved to help people. That's it. I used to want to be a politician, getting into politics and build up a multi-million-dollar business and incorporate my family name and be like the next Rothschild. You know what I mean? And that was a material legacy. But now the legacy I want to leave behind is to be remembered as somebody who loved people and wanted to serve God.
Funny. There's a guy that's got like 2.5 billion followers right now and growing, that lived about 2,000 years ago. And I think that's what his legacy was.
Yeah.
When you say you don't want to leave a legacy, that's a pretty big one. It's much bigger than any material or worldly legacy that we can leave.
Yeah.
So kudos to you on that. Matt, great interview today. If people want to find out more about Roofr, what do they need to do? Is there a website? Is there
Roofr.com? Just Roofr, add a .com to the end of this. And sorry, I'm backwards. This one here, add a .com to that. Go to Roofr.com. There's a contractor portal there. If you're a contractor, you can go in there and get signed up for free. It's a free account. We have a free draw it yourself measurement tool. You can go in and draw your own measurement reports. Doesn't cost you anything. You can upload drone images for free. Doesn't cost you anything. You can order the reports from us for $10. We also have financing partnerships with Mosaic, and we have a lead generation tool that you can put on your own website. So go to Roofr.com, sign up for free, create a free account, check it out, and we'll get in touch with you and walk you through it.
Awesome, Matt. Great job today. It went into areas I didn't even know we were going to talk about, but it was fantastic. Good to have you. I think you got some chili waiting on you.
Yes. My wife's making homemade chili, and she just made homemade bread. So if I leave behind a legacy, it will be this big fat gut right here.
All right, Matt. Hey, great having you today. Thanks for joining us on Contractor Radio.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Bye. All right, everybody. That was Matt Radford, and we were talking about automation and digitization of your business. And here's kind of the golden nuggets from that. Number one is don't have fear of it. This is one of those things, it's a mindset thing. Instead of thinking of it as an issue or an obstacle, this technology stuff that's out there, think of it as a challenge. Matt talked a lot about what drove him. He said what makes him tick is challenge. And he sees challenge in all kinds of places. One of those places is fear of technology. And so start small, get this little thing and use that little thing, get it to where it starts to do some stuff for you that frees up some more time to maybe learn a new little thing. Some of those things that you can probably start with are, simply getting some measurements that would save you some time. Using tools that will maybe automate your photos like a company cam. There's all kinds of tools out there that for the expense, you look at them as not an expense, but an investment. It's an investment in my time. My time is valuable, and I want to use that time in the best way possible. Last but not least, the golden nugget that I think Matt kind of brought that was the undertone of the whole thing is hope. He has this hope, and that's through his salvation. And this podcast isn't about you finding faith or anything like that, but if for any reason you've lost hope, you can find it in God. It is what gives us this lack of fear. I'm not worried about it. This isn't the thing we're chasing on this planet. We're chasing a kingdom that's everlasting, not just 80, 85 years on this little blue ball of water and gas. And it gives us confidence. It gives us comfort, not complacency. Those two things are different. We're still going to move forward. We're still going to push. But the thing that he really was honed in on was serving and giving. And I really am in line with people that want to give. It's funny, the more you give, the more you receive. It's just almost contagious. It's weird. No, it's hard for people to be mean to kind people. And so if you're kind, you're giving, you're serving, it's amazing what you get in return, even though you're not looking for it. That's not why we should be serving. We should be serving because we want to. And so those would be my golden nuggets. Find your way to serve your people today. Find a way to serve yourself today to gain more time so that you can work on your business instead of in it. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Contractor Radio. We're going to bring even more and better ones to you this year. We're super excited about all of our new sponsors. You got to hear from them throughout our show today. I hope you enjoyed it. Glad to have you, and we'll see you next week at Contractor Radio.